Hello, Shakthi.
Hey, Natalia.
Um, Hello, everyone. How are you doing?
Great. How about you?
Just amazing. It's always nice to see you. I was very excited because today is another day of talking about stock, and we're gonna bring our platform, our stories, and talk about da 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 da. What's the topic of today?
Intel.
Intel. Oh. Okay. How are they doing?
What do you think?
Ah, they used to be amazing. I remember that time. One of the best companies on earth. I wanted to work there. Oh yes, I had an interview with these guys. I remember
Okay.
that straight away after uni. I came there, and I was so stressed. I was walking around that Intel building,
Hmm.
and then I entered, and they all came and started asking me questions, and I just got like so scared like this. And then it's like, oh, I think I'm not ready, and I just stand up and left. It was one of the most embarrassing stories. Well, I didn't know anything about stocks at that point,
Hmm.
but I guess it was really high then, and
Yeah.
now it is a little bit down, a lot down,
Yeah.
right?
It's a competition. Too much competition for Intel. But there was good news yesterday. The stock jumped around 22%. It's back in the news. Looks like things might turn around in the future. We'll have to take a look at what's happening.
Why it went up by 20%?
So the news is Intel and Nvidia, right? So they are getting into some sort of a partnership. Nvidia is investing around $5 billion in Intel. Since Intel's market cap has gone down a lot, it's almost 4% of their entire market cap. So Nvidia is going to own 4% of Intel now. The deal is Intel will supply custom CPUs, which is what they do, right? Nvidia will use those in their AI data center stacks. Then Intel will integrate Nvidia's GPUs into their PC systems, right? So it's like a partnership which works well for both of them. This could increase Intel's competitive moat. It could also be a problem for AMD, which is trying to compete in the space, especially with Intel and Nvidia coming out with custom products, which could be preferred by the market. But we'll have to wait and see how Nvidia responds to this. So the news has been perceived as a positive sign, and the stock has jumped up almost 22-23%. And it's probably one of their biggest moves in several years. So yeah.
Very interesting. You know what I've heard a couple of weeks ago? On August 22nd, yeah, just a month ago, Intel announced that the US government, under the Trump administration, reached an agreement to purchase common stocks in Intel, making a roughly 9.9 equity stake.
That is good, but I don't know. See, when you involve, I mean, it's my personal opinion, right? So when you involve the government into a private entity, and if they own like almost 10% stake, they might call the shots on what Intel has to do next and stuff like that. I don't know if that's what they're planning to do, but generally speaking, it's better to have a private company private, right? Let them do their thing. But anyway, Intel is struggling, so and also the United States wants to have this semiconductor industry in the US because there's a lot
Yeah.
of competition from outside the US, and they don't want to be dependent on other countries when it comes to semiconductors. Well, that's key for most technologies that we use today. It makes sense, but let's see how it goes. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that those news might be not related. It's just when you said about Intel and that Intel stocks is going up, it reminds me that okay, should we look at
Yeah.
the numbers? Please like, share, and subscribe, and you will know a lot about stocks and our opinion on different public companies in United States. And now Intel.
Okay, so since they are one of the top performers, it's in our top gainers today, and we
Whoa,
can
whoa.
get into Intel. Yeah, 22% looks all green, but as you see, the first thing is the revenue that's negative. It's not growing that much.
Yeah,
The free cash flow is also not growing that much, but still, they have a good revenue in terms of size, right? 53 billion is still big. They still sell a lot of products. Their free cash flow has been negative, and that's not a good sign. And it's very hard to assess companies which have free cash flow going down year after year. So as you can see here, they had a 51% drop in free cash flow, and then again another 10% drop. So it's close to 15 billion each year. If they continue in this path, the company, it will be very hard for the company to bounce back.
yeah.
Because of today's news, hopefully they can improve the uh, revenue by selling more exciting products along with Nvidia. And the chart here tells you the story. In the last 10 years, stock has been struggling. It was at 59 or 60 at one point, and it crashed to
Yeah,
20, and
yeah.
it's very hard for it to come back to those days. And what else do you want to see?
Do they pay any dividends?
It was something they used to do, and they have been cutting those
They
dividends
started
drastically.
cutting.
It's
Yeah.
a it was one of the good dividend paying stocks, and a lot of dividend investors were highly disappointed when this happened. But again, with the negative free cash flow, they don't have anything to pay you, so I won't blame them either.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay, and can you see the news about Intel straight away from the
Yeah,
platform?
so let's see what's going on. So
Latest news.
yeah, that's one way of getting to the news,
Yeah.
and I can see the news that you were talking about. U.S. government's Intel stake is worth 13 billion after the Nvidia deal, and Nvidia's 5 billion Intel bet could shape AI era. A lot of positive news for Intel today.
There is some hope for it. Yeah. Who
Yeah.
knows?
So one important point is Apple, right? So we didn't touch
Yeah.
upon Apple and its impact on Intel.
Yeah.
So when I bought this Mac that I'm using now,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I bought it like 4 or 5 years back, and at that time, Mac was also using Intel to run
Yes,
their
I remember that.
system,
Yeah.
right? And then they started some research and came out with the M1 chip at that time,
Yeah.
and that was tailored for Apple system, and it did much better than the Intel system. And I think that's where the downfall started. We can check the financials. I believe they started going downhill since then. Apple doesn't need Intel anymore, right? And Apple is one of the most famous desktops people use. So
It's really interesting. So you think that Apple may affect Intel?
they don't need them anymore. But then there are other systems which still need Intel, and hopefully they can capture that market and survive in the future. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well done, Intel. Whatever they are doing, great. Would you bet your money on it?
Not now. See, I'm very clear. If a company is making negative free cash flow, I'm not even bothered. Okay, let them turn positive. I'll take a look at that. Because see, there are so many opportunities in the market. You don't have to bet on somebody who's not doing well when you have so many others who are doing extremely well, right? So
If we go to financials and look a little bit at the balance sheet, what
yeah,
do they have in there? This
yeah,
is quite interesting.
right. So if you go to the revenue, and again, the revenue has been dropping
Yeah,
pretty hard. It was 63, now it's like 53. It's not too bad. I mean, the numbers are huge. They still have a good profit margin and whatnot. It's
Yeah.
just that they have negative earnings per share at this moment, and if the trend continues, the shareholder is not getting much out of this business, right? So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
this is not we're not trying to give advice to anyone. I mean, people can make their own choices, but it's just my opinion. If will I put my money here? Doubtful, because I also look at dividends, and I actually have an aversion towards companies who cut dividends. Okay, so that's something I don't appreciate. So yeah, just my opinion. And then again, we saw the free cash flow already, which was
It
negative, and it's been
was
negative
like,
for the last 3 years. It was
yeah.
even worse, right?
And what about balance sheet?
Yeah, in the balance sheet, assets. They have a lot of assets because the
Yeah,
company owns factories and whatnot, right? So
yeah,
there is a
that's
lot
right.
of value in the assets, and you see up to $200 billion of worth of assets. But then they have debt. Long-term debt is 46 billion, and all that is fine. But if you have assets, then you'll not have to maintain those assets. And
That's
if you have negative free cash flow, there's not much for you to go on with and maintain these huge assets, right? So they need to have positive cash flow to actually continue maintaining these assets, and whatever capital they invest, there should be a good return on capital. Assets are good, but if you're not making any money out of those assets, you're in trouble.
all right. So no shopping for Intel for now, but we will look at them in the future, and maybe the next financial reporting would be better, at least positive.
Yeah.
Thank you, Shakti. Great talking to you, and I'll see you again very soon.
You too.
Bye for now.
Bye.